So what an interesting day. Today on /NQ, so this is overall the NASDAQ future. Like we talked about last week, we saw a pullback to the SMA line, and based off of previous patterns, it does a really good job finding a support and then indicating signs of, again, a bullish uptrend. It's done this multiple times, and as it pulled back, it wasn't much of a surprise that today it is up on the day, and it's, again, still having this bullish rally, making new highs on the day. So this is most likely why you are experiencing a green day if you hold any stocks that, again, are influenced by the overall market. So Amazon, Facebook, Netflix are all up on the day as the market begins to indicate signs of an uptrend. One of the stocks that is not up today is Intel. And what I want to talk about is, so although Intel did drop when it reported earnings, if you guys actually look into its earnings, it actually reported a great earnings. But because they delayed their next chip by, if I'm not mistaken, 6 months, which is their 7 nanometer chip, this caused, again, based off of overall expectation and guidance, the overall stock to drop. And one of the things that you want to ask yourself is, by delaying this chip 6 months, is it detrimental to the company? It's a very simple question you can all ask yourself. I am not here to ever convince you that you should buy or put your money in something that you do not see value in. All I'm here to provide you is what caused it to drop. You can look into the earnings. It was a positive earnings. You can see why it dropped, and it's almost inverse, right? You guys know that Intel is a huge multi-billion-dollar semiconductor corporation. They make these chips, right? And just like their direct competitor, AMD did almost the exact opposite on Friday. Intel dropped 16 to 17% on Friday. AMD went up 16 to 17%, making it hit 180-day highs. So a lot of people are loving AMD as it's viewed as kind of like the newer, more modern, very bullish semiconductor manufacturer. But one of the things that we also have to understand is AMD is about to report earnings, and it wouldn't really surprise me if it's positive just based off of previous earnings as well. But one of the things that I want to kind of just provide you with is a little bit more details, and don't even just stop with this video. Don't be afraid to learn more about what Intel has to offer, and then asking yourself the question, is Intel a good buy at $50 a share for a potential recovery if it goes back to $60 of 20%? Or is this in the very early stages of it continuing to sell off just like it did during the pandemic? What I see here is I see more upside than downside. I see that it reported positive earnings, and although it did push back its new nanometer chip 6 months, it is unfortunate, but it's not, in my opinion, detrimental. There is also some more news, and again, I want to provide you not just with positive news, but something that is also maybe not in the best interest of Intel, is that they plan to potentially no longer manufacture its own chips. This also was another reason on what caused Intel to drop. And again, please look a little bit more into it. And the CEO spoke about this, about them having many more options and flexibility. So in future events, if the processes slip, we can just try something new rather than making it all themselves. The idea of flexibility and a series of options are in their overall best interest based off of what their CEO said. On top of that, what I needed to provide you guys with is, again, AMD being a direct competitor and rival of Intel, their stock rose 17%, right? We need to make sure that we understand that. Why AMD pushed up? Because if their competitor shows signs that, hey, we're not going to release this nanometer chip till 6 months, it gives AMD an edge, as Intel has been the leader in the manufacturing of these semiconductor chips. So it's in AMD's best interest to be able to then get ahead. One of the things that I also do want to share with you is there are a series of people that spoke out if Intel does actually follow through with outsourcing its chips, that by outsourcing to other companies may mean that Intel can never catch up again because of the research and development that it takes to manufacture them. So they might begin to fall behind. And again, this is something that I wanted to provide you guys with. One of the last words for the CEO during this meeting is that the flexibility is not a sign of weakness, meaning that he just wants a series of different options. So when it comes down to manufacturing all of these, that again, they have a series of different options that they can work with. And of course, it gets much more complicated than that. But what I'm here to talk about is what I see this short-lived catalyst, right? We see that it reported a positive earnings, but of course there was a negative catalyst because of the pushback of the 6 months. Unfortunately, it did drop 16 to 17%, and it's down another 1% on the day. The reason that I am watching Intel so carefully is because I honestly do see a lot of upside. And please share your open opinion down in the comment section. Do you think that it's the end of Intel and the very beginning of AMD? Or even if you are pro AMD, do you think that, again, this is a very short-lived negative catalyst and it's only a matter of time for Intel to shortly recover? It's not that it has to go all the way back to $65 a share. It's just understanding that right now, Intel is under a lot of pressure, right? And there's a lot of negative news towards Intel. So therefore, you can see that its volume spiked up and there's a lot of sellers. But once this begins to find a support level, it wouldn't really surprise me, just like we saw with Facebook, just like we saw with Bed Bath & Beyond, when they received either poor earnings or unfortunate news of advertisers pulling out of Facebook. It was only a matter of time for that bad news to die out, become less relevant, and then these companies begin their recovery. And the reason that I'm talking about this is not so you put your money in this whatsoever, but at least that you are aware of what stocks based off of previous trading prices are in better buy range. So if you see value in them, you can set your alerts, add it to your watch list, and follow up with it when it makes sense to you, and only if you see value in this. If you're someone that is pro AMD and you think that this thing is going to continue to uptrend, I wish you all the best. I 100% wish the best for both AMD and Intel. All I know is that AMD, when it does become overbought, it's only a matter of time for it to correct itself, as everything, once it goes up, it's only a matter of time for it to pull back in some form of way. It's right now experiencing a lot of hype, a lot of demand because of the unfortunate news with Intel. But again, you just want to make sure that you set yourself up for success and that you don't enter and hold a hopeful trade when things, of course, are a little bit more on the overbought side. I'm excited to follow up with the earnings for AMD, which is on the 28th of July. But with that being said, I am also very intrigued by staying up to date with Intel and to see if this thing actually begins to indicate signs of an uptrend. So I really hope that throughout this video, I shared a couple points that you guys saw value in. So I really hope that throughout this video, you learned something new. If you guys did, I would really appreciate it if I earned your thumbs up and you guys just absolutely destroy that like button. Also, don't forget to stay connected. We do run the largest free Facebook group in the world with over 286,000 members, and that's that first link down below. If you guys want to watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow, click the second link, learn a little bit more about the Learn Plan Profit group, get a taste of what it's like to watch me trade live every single day. And if you're ready to join our team, I'll see you tomorrow at Market Open. Like always, team, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy.